Welcome back to Screamers. I'm Maya in the studio as always with Honor and Jessie. The WSL season is over, the FA Cup is over, and we are going to recap it all. Let's get into it.
The FA Cup final has just ended 3-0 to Chelsea. Congratulations to Chelsea for an invincible domestic treble season. Wow. What did you guys think of the game?
I have to say, it didn't look like it was necessarily going to end 3-0 from the beginning of the game, and then just Chelsea motored on.
I thought it was going to be another, hadn't it been every time they've met this season so far, it's been 1-0, and it did feel like it was going to be
it felt like a 1-0 game.
It felt like it should have gone in 0-0 at half time if Bizet hadn't had a moment of absolute insanity and thought, you know what I'll do? I'll just take Cuthbert out in the box and just completely body up.
I was hoping that Fallon Tullis-Joyce, who did put in an absolute shift and made some great saves in the first half, I wondered if she was going to save that, because it was like Sondi Baltimore in front of that wall of red.
Yeah,
I did wonder if luck would be on Fallon Tullis-Joyce's
I mean,
side.
it would have been very in keeping with the FA Cup final weekend.
Yes.
The Menza was a penalty save yesterday.
Yes, exactly.
No, she did make some great. I mean, actually, I think my favourite one was sort of the combined Fallon Tullis-Joyce, Leah Galton last-ditch tackle save.
That was so good.
It was so good, but also so easily could have ended up like Leah Galton putting her boot straight through Fallon's face.
Yeah.
But I'm sad for Man U that they weren't able to defend their title. I think it's really cool that Chelsea got the domestic treble. It's great for Chelsea that they built on last season.
Yeah.
They've done a lot better this season than they did last season.
Yeah.
Which is great. But I think we all agree, like we all wanted Man U to defend the titles because it's fun. It's cool to have a different team winning stuff, and it's also cool for a team to defend a title.
Yeah, it is insane that this rebuild season of Chelsea has led to a domestic treble.
Guys, sorry, I thought this was meant to be your transition.
Yeah, I mean,
Give
God help
us a
us for
chance.
next year. But I thought, I mean, they just turned it on in the second half. They were incredible. And partly because United were opening it up and they were searching for that equaliser, and they just left themselves. And Mark Skinner was like, no defenders. We're not going to have defenders. We're going to have 6 attackers on the pitch, which then
did
Chelsea
bite them in the arse.
Really bit them in the arse. But yeah, Chelsea were good value for it, and I just think United looked dead on their legs.
They looked really tired, didn't they? Like Chelsea were keeping up their intensity, and Man U, like for that third goal, they kind of just looked like they'd given up.
Yeah, it was also a game that brought in, really shone the talents of the respective pundits. I thought Nikita Paris was brilliant on the punditry, really
at the
fun.
half-time commentary in the end. Yeah,
but I want to know if Rachel Banfinis had like a list of like silly things she was going to say. There was Clinton's cards when Grace Clinton got a yellow card. There was the Battle of Britain to describe Erin Cuthbert and Grace Clinton's battle.
That's wild.
Yeah, it was. There was
I also loved her
corkers.
saying Man U were breaking the Rachel Williams emergency glass.
Yeah,
so that was really good.
And I do think the Erin Cuthbert rotting in midfield was strutting in midfield, but
An unfortunate mistake.
It really added to the group. So that wraps up the season domestically, apart from that small matter of a trip to Lisbon for a certain London-based club. But I think it's a perfect time, do you think, for a sort of end of season wrap up?
Let's do it. Yeah,
Full circle moment for us, because we started midway through the season with a mid-season wrap up.
Yes.
So quite nice that we can do it properly now at the end of a season when these things should happen. I guess maybe let's start looking at our own teams. Maya, what would you give Arsenal's season out of 10?
Great question. Maybe either a 7.5 or an 8.
Fair.
Just because I think it's a huge disappointment that we didn't win anything domestically. And we didn't even get to finals domestically.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe it's okay not to win silverware when there's a team like Chelsea around.
Yeah.
But to be knocked out early of the FA Cup final, to not get into the Subway Cup final, I think that was really disappointing. And for a team like Arsenal, like we should be actually getting into those finals.
In amongst it.
I also think, the first 3 months of our season were really disappointing and ultimately were why we were never really challenging to win the league.
Yeah.
So I think, the last few months have obviously been amazing in lots of ways. Let's discount the last week of the league. But not including the last week of the league, we've had a really good few months.
Yeah.
But we can't forget the first few months of the season were really quite disappointing. So yeah, I think I really want to see us winning something next season.
Yeah. I mean, you might win something next week.
Yeah.
We might, yeah. But I really want to see us win something next, guys. I really want us to see us win something domestically next season. And I also really want us to sort out our back line.
Yeah.
And our back line, our set pieces and our goalies.
Yeah. Our entire squad.
Yeah.
But you, Honor.
Everyone except Mariona and Russo.
Yeah, they're all on notice. I hope you know, guys. But you, Honor, what are you giving West Ham for this season?
It's quite tricky because I feel like West Ham have had quite a roller coaster of a season. Kind of an upwards curve from the first half of the season, which was obviously fairly dire.
Yeah.
But then the last few games were just a bit flat. And I'm going to go for 7.
Okay, fair.
Because I think West Ham have made really promising moves, made great signings, big steps, really good home form. And in my mind, I was like, oh, West Ham are going to finish like 6th or 7th. That's amazing. And then we finished 9th, which I don't think reflects how well we'd been doing in the second half of the season. We were just like winning, drawing. But yeah, just kind of
too little, too late.
Had a couple of bad losses at the end. But I will say there are loads of positives to take away for next season if we can hang on to some of these players. Obviously, Martinez is really coming into her own, and I think she would actually benefit from another season at West Ham, to be honest.
Definitely.
So I hope for everyone's sake that she does stay.
Yeah.
Obviously, some of our more senior players have had really good seasons as well. WSL, Gori, I think, has been really solid, and Verena Hanshaw, what a signing. Like, love her. And then Rianne Skinner, you've got to hand it to her. She's got a lot of stuff right, so love it. But I really hope we can start next season with a bang rather than this kind of weird plateau that we've ended on. So
yeah,
I think overall, good stuff for West Ham, but actually the position we finished in doesn't flatter us.
Jessie, what about Liverpool?
Oh, you're both so positive, and I'm really like.
It's because West Ham are usually shit. Yeah. So this is like.
I feel like maybe a 6.5 for this season, because the FA Cup run I think was fantastic. We had a mix of easier sides of the draw, but we did have to play Arsenal, we did have to play Chelsea, we did go out to Chelsea, but we ran them the whole way. So I think our cup run was really good and felt really convincing. I was like, oh, there's a momentum building here. This team is like together, and you can see it. But the league, we finished 4th in the league last season, and you can say that was a little bit of a fluke because other teams weren't performing as well. So maybe like 4th was probably not on the cards, but I was hoping that we would be in the mix for convincingly finish 5th, and that the gap wouldn't be as big as it has been this year. There's something like, what is it? I think 16 points or something separates the top 4 from the rest of the pack, and it feels like we were building this momentum and improving facilities and structures for the women last season, and we just haven't kicked on. And I think we're going to be in a bit of a transition, and it's whether we can rebuild this summer, because we've got a fair few players leaving. We've got a fair few players who I think maybe need to be moved on. We don't have the strength and depth that I think are like the better squads in the league do.
Yeah.
But we should be able to attract players of that caliber, because we've got a really good core. If we can hold on to Olivia Smith, the same as with Shakira Martinez, I think she will really benefit from being at Liverpool another season. I think the league will benefit from her being there for another season.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
Mia Enderby will come on and flourish. Herbinger and Nagano, when they're firing, are great. I just need somebody else in that mix with them. I think a couple of key signings in the spine of the team, and we can hopefully kick on. But I kind of felt not thrilled with our performance this season in the league, and managerial changes halfway through are never easy. No. But Arsenal seemed to do all right out of it. So
yeah, it was a bit of a blessing for us, to be honest.
But I guess we should probably talk about, outside of our own teams, the big one, the big blue elephant in the room. 6 in a row for Chelsea.
It's amazing.
Domestic treble. I mean, I really didn't.
It's amazing, and it also doesn't look like it's going to stop. Like, they've just announced Alex Ohanian giving them investing 20 million in the team. Like, they're doing all the right things to grow and to keep growing. And I saw Sonia Bompasta, Jessie Park-Humphries published an article in the Observer where the headline was Sonia saying other teams need to catch us, basically. They need to come up to our level. And I think she's right. Like, I don't think we should ever sit here and not that we do, but I think a lot of press and a lot of fans sort of sit there and they're like, oh, well, Chelsea make it impossible for us. But it's kind of like, but we should all just want to be at their level. It's not about like putting Chelsea down because they're investing. Actually, all other teams should be investing in the same way.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. I mean, they got all that news for their big signings, for the money spent on Kira Walsh,
and Germa.
Kind of ghosted this season.
She has.
Don't think she's made the splash that everyone thought she would.
No.
But they make smart, like younger signings and smaller signings, like Macario when she came. I mean, obviously,
captain,
Ramirez.
Yeah, I mean, Baltimore. I don't think anybody knew Baltimore would be like. She was good, obviously, before coming. Like Chelsea wouldn't sign you if you weren't. But
No, exactly. They're doing all the right things. And actually that's another thing I was going to say about Arsenal was like, I really think we need to have a good transfer window. Like we haven't for a few years, really. We've made a couple of signings, but it's been really quiet. And I think if we want to keep up with Chelsea and also Man City, who I think will be great next season because they're coming now, all their amazing players are coming back from injury. If we want to be competing with them, if we want to win silverware, we need to like shake something up. You know, like you guys said, when we were playing against Lyon and we still had so many players from the team that Joe Montemurro had been the manager of, 2 managers previous, like that's ridiculous. Like if we're a top team, we should have a much higher not turnover, but we should be developing young players. We're not really doing that.
And just a bigger squad in general.
Exactly. Yeah.
Who would you get rid of? Would you get rid of, like, if you had to get rid of the players to open up some space, who do you think should be moved on maybe from Arsenal?
I guess some players have already moved on. They've announced them, like Ilestedt, Hurtig, which I probably would agree with. Maybe Marnham. Do you know why? Only because.
Really?
How dare you?
Oh my God.
She's very inconsistent. I think on her day she's really good, but I think she can also not be at the level that we need to be at sometimes.
But she has saved you so many times this season.
She's been a clutch player for Arsenal.
True, but I think we have other people who have been clutch players, and I think we have people like Chloe Kelly coming in, and also we haven't been playing. God, I hope so.
Michelle, I can hear you, Michelle. It's quite, I mean, and who knows? I think the thing is with Arsenal, as a player can go from having an absolutely dog shit season to being incredible. I mean, because I was leading the Caitlin Ford needs to be sold train last summer.
And she's been absolutely incredible this season.
She's been one of your best players.
Yeah,
so,
she has.
It's quite interesting, but I do think that's the one thing that is setting Arsenal apart from the rest of the, like, even Man United. Man United have been making some smart moves, like not to the same scale that Chelsea and City do. But
no, really, like Terland, Bizet, Janssen, all great signings.
Yeah, I mean Janssen's like a real plug and play. Like wherever you need her to go in, she'll do a job. That's the kind of player that maybe Arsenal don't actually have.
I think Arsenal try to do that and then it just goes horribly wrong.
And I guess some other kind of beats from the season that we should probably talk about were the race for the Champions League, which was quite exciting this season.
It was, yeah. It was never really in the bag for any of the other 3 teams. Obviously, it was for Chelsea, basically. But for the other 3 teams, it was pretty down to the wire.
Yeah, and then at the other end of the table, it was like a race to the bottom at points. I mean, RIP Palace, we loved you having you. Hopefully you come back soon. But my God, Villa and Spurs didn't necessarily make it an easy relegation battle.
No.
Like this worst ever season for Spurs and WSL. And
where do they go from here? What is going to happen to them next season? Because obviously structurally something is so wrong because
they have some good players. They have decent good players.
And then if you think with the manager, with Willeham last season, obviously they got some good results. They were doing really well, had their FA Cup run. What's gone wrong?
Yeah. I mean, Martha Thomas can't find the goal. That's what's gone wrong.
Yeah, but it can't all be on her, you know?
No, yeah, you're right. And also, it's going to be so difficult. They're not like... you know how Brighton can sort of attract those players like Frank Kirby or Nikita Paris who are like moving on from a club but they've still got a lot to offer.
Yep.
Spurs can't offer that.
It's just a different vibe, isn't it? Spurs, like Brighton's almost like kind of exciting and like their little sort of challenges. Spurs just feels really stagnated and like, I don't know, man.
Depressing.
Yeah.
Like it just looks really miserable.
I'm still not over that Spurs Leicester game I went to.
Do you reckon that's your low of the season? Like that be your lowest point?
It's definitely my low in the WSL. Yeah. My low point.
Have you got one on? Have you got a WSL low point in the season?
I had a very disappointing moment when a man who I put on a pedestal and idolised turned out to be a fucking freak, which was Robert DePau. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
I had so much hope for that man, and he just
you were a big Rob DePau fan.
I was like, guys, wait, like he's gonna come through. He's gonna come through. Villa keep having these narrow losses, like they're playing really well, and then he just A, went off the rails, and B, they never got good at football.
Disappointing.
Yeah, the process needed quite a lot more work doing.
But I do think it's a happy ending because I'm excited by Natalia Arroyo, and she's obviously had a really good string of results. So
I think that's the clue to the WSL. Actually, I think you need a foreign manager who wears a hoodie underneath a blazer. Seems to be the trick.
Take notes, Renee.
Yeah. Unsurprisingly, I think my low point of the season, which I've still not gone over, is that hissing penalty. That penalty.
Ooh.
Against Everton, that was for a foul over a metre outside the box. And like all those that people were talking about, like, you know, there's VAR in the FA Cup finals today, and will VAR ever come to the WSL? If our refs and our liners can't see things that are miles outside the box, then please do not give our league VAR.
There's no hope.
There's absolutely no hope. Okay, so those are some lows, some very, very low, traumatic lows. But I guess there have been some highlights. There's been some good moments. Oh no, what's been, like, you know, the best moment of WSL for you this season?
Maybe this is recency bias, but I do think West Ham beating Palace 7-0 was just epic. Like Shakira Martinez scoring 4 goals.
Yeah.
West Ham's biggest ever win. Like it was just crazy.
Yeah.
Absolute bumper
Sorry,
game.
Palace, and they were, you know, not very good, but it's a massive moment for West Ham.
Yeah, I mean that was a cracker. I actually think one of my highlights of this, setting aside Liverpool, actually I think one of the matches I enjoyed watching the most was, do you remember when we were in that very strange bar in Stratford watching the Manchester derby?
Oh my God.
That was one of my highlights, the Manchester derby.
Yeah.
What a game that was.
And it's just quite nice to be like, oh, I don't care like about either of these teams, so I can just watch this as a game of football, and it was such a fun game of football.
Was that the Ella Toon hat-trick game?
That was the Ella Toon hat-trick game.
Love
that was so good.
That was one of my highlights, I think, of the season too.
It was just like, oh yeah, football.
Yeah.
This is football.
On the same note, one of my other highlights was the Man City Arsenal game where we just won it 4-3, but that game had everything. It had like a dodgy penalty. It had 1 minute in Caldente screamer. It had Viv Miedema, like gorgeous goal. It was like completely end to end. Lot of a Moy goal, like. And Blackstonians with the clincher.
Yeah.
Like you actually could not have written it.
It's
more
like the football
chaotic.
girls were just pulling things from a grab bag. Like, well, let's do this next.
Everything on the bingo card. It was such a good game.
And then I think in terms of like, I don't know if it's a highlight or like I don't know if I ever hope it gets repeated or never repeated again, but the City-Chelsea death spiral.
Oh my God.
we were in.
Oh my God, so true. I was obsessed. I was really into it.
We were actually really sad when it was over.
Yeah, low-key were hoping it was going to be the FA Cup final. Like, it's a final one to go out on.
Let's do it all again.
I mean, mate, I don't know if that's a sign the league needs to be expanded or not, because why were they playing
We're
each
just
other?
happy if we just watch Chelsea Man City for the whole season.
Yeah, cancel the rest of the games. Just have that. But maybe, I don't know, should we chat managers? I mean, it feels like there's one contender for manager of the season, and it's been picked by every journalist under the sun. But who?
I mean, like, so everything aside, like obviously it's Sonia Bonpastor.
Yeah.
So like we don't need to really pick through that. Like she has obviously played an absolute blinder.
Yeah.
Her first season in the WSL, like it could not have been more perfect, apart from one little thing.
Apart from some could say the thing she was hired for. but who would say? But yeah, the togetherness of that. Yeah, the togetherness of that squad actually feels like you always felt that Chelsea were really together under Emma Hayes, but actually it feels like another level. She's done a fantastic
She has taken
job.
them to another level. I think like the way they just haven't lost a game. It's just crazy.
But setting aside the real answer of manager of the season, who else are you
Let's
picking?
fight it out for second place.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going for our Strepsil King. The man, the sorest throat in the land, Brian Sorensen. I think Everton were pretty shit at the start of the season, and setting aside league table, because I think that kind of batch in the league was actually quite competitive. It's moved around a lot throughout the season, but I think like the way that you could see Everton's progression, you could see like the kind of football they were trying to play and how it was getting better, and like when they used to play out from the back in October, it was like hide behind the cushion levels of bad, and then they're doing
really
it now,
scary,
and they're setting off these brilliant counter attacks, and they've got Tony Payne, they've got Kelly Gargo, like. Sarah Holmgaard has just been lights out fantastic, but so quietly underrated because she's like left back at Everton.
Yeah.
I just think he's done a really good job.
He has. I mean, he's been trying to get them to play this style of football, and they have been playing this style of football for a couple of seasons. And it hasn't been coming together, and it's been really scary because they've left themselves so open.
Yep.
But now that it's fallen into place, it's actually like very scary.
Yeah.
They look good.
They could go on. I think a big cup run could be in their future.
Oh, I'd love that for them. That'd be really cool.
Right, you, Anna, who's on your many enlisted accolades?
I had a few. other managers on my mind. Again, recency, but looking at the last 5 games of the season, 5 wins in a row for Natalia Arroyo at Villa.
True.
Which is crazy. I know she had a bit of like a teething period when she first came in.
Had to clean up Rob's mess.
Exactly. But to end the season in that way is, really, really impressive.
Yeah, I agree.
And of course, my queen, Rianne.
I think we should dig out the recordings of Honor having some less charitable thoughts about Rianne earlier in the season.
To be fair, it's been this whole second half of the season. So apart from like the first episode where we reviewed the first half of the season, I've been like, Rianne.
Yeah.
Rianne?
I think Jonas Eidevall getting fired actually was such a great reset point for the entire league. Actually,
I mean, it has been like the most manager switcheroo season ever, right?
Yeah.
Like over half the managers have changed.
Yeah,
it is crazy.
Also, Nick Cushing, just for vibes. I unfortunately really like him.
I am still obsessed with the fact that he got nominated for whatever awards it was for Manager of the Year before he managed a single game.
It's crazy. Okay, so no one's going to say Renee, so I'm going to say Renee.
Well, I was
Renee was on my list, but
yeah. I mean, look, all the people we've spoken about have been on my list, but I think she's also done a great job. Like we were really seriously flailing.
Yeah.
She's obviously just steadied the ship. Obviously the team really like her, and she's managed to get the best out of our players. And we've got to our first Champions League final in 18 years. So
and she's gorgeous.
She's gorgeous.
Hey, you Brian is a looker on his day. All right.
I'm not going to argue with that either.
What about standout players?
Oh, I mean, my first choice is obviously Olivia Smith. I just think she has been like I kind of, looking at her stats when she at her previous seasons, like, oh yeah, she'll do well, but I wasn't prepared for how much of a leading light she has been. Like she is just every time she gets the ball, you think she's going to do something. Yeah, which is what you're scared, and which is what you.
Or if you're Jessie, you're excited.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thrilled. I'm on the edge of my seat, but then I'm also terrified she's going to get absolutely bodied by a defender. But I think that excitement is what you expect of players in their prime, and she's so young, and it's like it's also the anticipation of where she's going to go. I think she's just been so good. And then my other standout is Sarah Humgard at Everton. I just think really calmly, quietly brilliant, has had some excellent bangers and some brilliant assists, most notably to assist her own sister. But I just think is a very sort of core part of that Everton team and helps drive them on and just keep them composed in moments where it's feeling a bit more difficult, but is also really creative and exciting when it's not. So I'm Liverpool coded through and through.
What about you, Honor?
Well, I think for West Ham, Vivian Say has been really amazing. She actually has the most goal contributions in the WSL.
Wow.
For goals and assists,
Oh, wow.
Which is just an incredible achievement.
Yeah, that is.
Considering that West Ham haven't, always scored loads.
Yep.
It's really impressive. But other than her amazing season, I think everyone knows how incredible Mariona Caldente has been. Looking at her in Barcelona, because she's surrounded by all these incredible players and they have such a distinct style of play, she was never really a standout player for me. But seeing her play in the WSL, play for Arsenal, and do the things that she does week in, week out, blew my mind this season.
Yeah, that's the same for me. I think she's just brought a whole new level to the league, really. I just think she is such quality, and you can just see it. She's just on another level.
It's like the Bompastor manager. It's like Mariona is the best player of the season. It is the right answer.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think what's been really interesting at Arsenal is obviously she is that level above, but she's bringing people up closer to her level rather than just
playing down,
which
is a really hard thing to do. I think you see it when in the same way with teams, when they're playing a much worse team, they often find it hard to stay at their own level, whereas if you're matched up with a team much better than you often rise to their level. But so for Mariona Caldente, for her to have kept at her level and been able to bring people up, that's such an underrated skill, and that has been transformative for Arsenal.
I also think on a similar vein, when you have a star player in a team, when you look at, say, Spurs with Beth England, she's there trying to do everything.
So it doesn't work.
Whereas in Arsenal, Mariona is on another level, but she's not taking that weight, and she is just
she's our humble queen.
She's kind of turning the cogs, but not taking over.
Tightening the screws.
Also, guys, I need to confess something, and I need your support and your guidance in this moment.
Is it April Fool's Day again?
No, Maya Letitia and her stupid little socks are winning me over. they're stupid little low socks, because that girl loves defending so much and she is so good at it.
Did you see that stat that she has started every single game in the WSL for the last 5 seasons?
And it's insane. You know how resistant I've been to it for so long. And I was watching her today and I was like, oh shit, I really like Maya Letitia.
I'm so happy this has happened because I'm obsessed with her. And I was like, why can't Jessie?
Because she's Man U. She's so Man U. I couldn't.
Jessie was blinded.
Yeah, but she is also a Brighton girlie. Like she's from Jersey.
Guernsey. One of them.
She's not a Man U girlie. Like she just plays there.
I think she would say she is. I think
she is. She is very.
Sorry,
Man
I'm
U
just trying to make excuses.
It was the Man U and the low socks, and that took a lot for me to get through. So your support in this time means a lot.
Do we think she should be starting for England?
I do,
but I don't think Serena will ever do it.
No, I completely agree.
She's too locked into that kind of the experience of the partnership, which I get at international football when you don't have time to play with, and like the time has gone for her to experiment with that now.
She could have done though.
Yeah,
she should have done.
Okay, it's time for the last Screamer of the Week for this season. So to close us out, we are going to choose our best goal of the WSL this season. So who wants to go first? Go on, Jessie.
I can go first. Mine is actually from before we started our podcast. So it's not been up for a vote before, which I don't know.
Wow.
But it is.
Did football even exist before Screamers podcast?
I've heard a rumour it might have done. I don't know. Mine is from a lovely trip to Brisbane Roads to watch Liverpool versus Spurs.
Nice.
It was Cornelia Capox's first start for Liverpool, and Becky Spencer thought, hey, I'll give you a nice moment for your first game, and passed the ball directly to you from goal. And
How kind.
So lovely. Before she's
women supporting women.
Yeah. She thought, a nice toast for Spurs before she left and became a WSL winner at Chelsea. What a great career move. No, she sort of like was going to clear it or play it long, I don't really know, but completely misjudged. It was out of a box, passed it straight to Capox, who just sort of looked up, saw her off the line and just lobbed her straight in.
That was such
nasty.
A good goal.
It was
such
a brilliant goal. And then I just think like the poetry of like it being your first start and your first goal, like it was brilliant. So that is mine.
Nice. Honor?
Great vote. I have to say, first of all, I'm slightly disappointed that we're not doing Screamers of the Week this week. So I'm going to give a shout out to Hibernian, who out of their 4 goals that they scored on Wednesday, 3 were absolute screamers.
Nice.
Like unreal. I think I'll put the clips up anyway, if you guys don't mind, because
just for people's viewing pleasure.
The world, yeah, exactly.
Let's
People
do it,
deserve to see these. But my Screamer of the season is none other than Viviana Miedema.
Oh, fuck, that's mine. The Aston Villa goal.
Yep. Maya's. This is the one that Maya stole off me for Screamer of the Week, and I've never forgotten, because this was my absolute. I didn't hold a grudge. This is my goal of the season. It was just like the aura. Sorry, guys.
I didn't hold a grudge, but
no, genuinely, I was like going through all the goals or like the best goal nominations. I was like, oh yeah.
You know what? You can pick Maya in Revenge. That one that Honor tricked us all into thinking she was going to pick, and then didn't, and it meant it never got mentioned.
Oh yeah.
Which one was that?
Foxy on the wing.
Such a good idea, Jessie. Since I can't choose Viviana Miedema, which was the one I had chosen, Jessie, thank you for reminding me about this beautiful, gorgeous goal. Emily Fox, who has also been one of our standout players this season, honestly faultless performance from her basically the whole season. An absolute screamer in the North London derby. Such quick reactions, straight up into top bins. Oh my God, gorgeous.
So the entire stadium was shouting "shoot," and then she did.
I love it when they do that. It's like my Sims. They're doing what I tell them.
And just the reaction of every player around her as well.
So good. Everyone was so happy for her.
It's like I think mine should win, but also like I think that I should win, but also I think mine should win. So we'll put the clips up on Instagram for everyone to take a look at. But our last Screamer of the season Maya, you've picked.
Emily Fox.
Honor, you've picked.
Viviana Miedema versus Aston Villa.
And I picked Cornelia Cadbox versus Spurs.
Woohoo!
Woo!
Yoo-hoo.
And next week we will be crowning the winner. Drum roll. And also I have been in my laboratory.
In your nerd era.
I'm not sure laboratory is the right word, but wherever a nerd would go to analyse data.
In your den.
Yeah, in your den.
In my den, analysing the data of the screamers of the week. So next week we're going to find out the anatomy of a screamer.
Ooh.
So this week there's been some big news in the league.
Mm-hmm.
We were told the night before that something big was going to drop at 10 a.m. Then the WPL deleted the tweets. Then we didn't know something was going to drop, but it did.
It did. And then people were finding things like on Company's House website. Which was...
Sleuths, some big sleuths.
Wild. I love women's football fans.
The WSL has been rebranded.
Yeah.
The championship is now back to being called the WSL 2. We're going back in time.
Yeah. Everyone loves a regression.
Yep. It's what we all say we want.
Yeah.
The WSL now looks a bit more like the World Surf League, which is fantastic news. But yeah, this is the latest offering from the WPLL, who now run the WSL and newly named WSL 2.
Yeah.
And the WPLL are now called
Oh, they changed their name.
WSL Football.
Okay, cool. New name for them too, why not?
Fine, might as well.
So-
They got a package deal, 3 for the price of 2.
Well, they thought we've designed this gorgeous new WSL logo.
Yeah.
We may as well use it.
3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I often think the best thing about a brand identity and a new logo as well is when you can't tell it apart from any other account. Just
Yeah.
really great branding.
It's just unreal that the like social media icons for the WSL and now the WSL2 are the same.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to tell which is which? I can't read a tiny little 2.
Yeah,
I mean, it is.
that is a big issue actually.
Yeah, from a like a purely social branding perspective, it's so poorly thought out. I
It's a
wonder if they've
nightmare.
like rushed out a V1 and then are going to improve it because, yeah, you search WSL, most of the time you do get surfing content because of the World Surf League, and so they've thought, let's make a logo that looks like a wave.
Yeah.
Even more so when it's scaled down to the little icon version. Also, the colours are the same for both. Like, the one thing that I think they've been really good about WSL recently was that the Championship and the WSL had a distinct identity.
Yeah.
That were part of the same family, but distinct.
And it is important because it does encourage you to like seek both out because
Yeah.
they feel different. Giving it, the exact same logo kind of just makes you feel like, well, I'll just watch WSL. Like,
Yeah.
there's no real point in watching.
To me, it feels like a bit of a disrespect for the Championship. It's like we don't value you enough to market you as your own product.
Yeah.
We're marketing you as an offshoot of the
A
WSL.
sort of worse version of the WSL.
A worse version. Like you were the WSL 2, and that was like a big thing. 7 years ago to rebrand it as its own distinct league.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to attract fans who maybe have an awareness of it feels like a lot of the changes are kind of like everything about men's football is awful, so we're not going to pay any attention to it. Okay, but you might have some men's fans who want to come watch women's football, and I don't think anyone who only watches men's football is going to be excited by the prospect of watching the WSL2
Yeah,
because
that's
the
true.
PL2
No.
is for the academy.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like above
it's just giving
fans
B team.
at all, it's kind of a change just to appease owners of
Yeah.
men's clubs specifically, where they're like, oh, our women's team is in the championship, like that sounds rubbish.
Mm.
And then it's just the association with the WSL or the top flight that they think it kind of sounds better or seems better,
Yeah.
which again is an insult to the championship
Yeah.
because it's great in its own right.
Yeah, totally.
And
I
also,
agree.
if you're going to do it, follow the whole way through. I mean, I know they only run the top 2 leagues, but then WSL 3, like, commit to the bit.
Can you
Like,
imagine how unhinged that would be? Like, oh yeah, I play in the WSL 7.
Actually, I think the thing beyond the branding and the pinks and oranges are going to date so quickly, and that font is going to date so quickly. Like, it's just a really bad design. But the thing that really pissed me off about the entire thing was, we're not football, we're a movement. Like, no, you can just be football. Like,
Yeah.
you can just be a football league. You can just run
you
a
are
football
also
league.
you are a football league.
Yeah, you're not a movement.
Like, don't say you're not a football league. That's
Yeah.
literally
You're
what you are.
delusional.
Also, you have like dodged every ability to stand for something this season. So you're not a movement, are you?
Yeah.
Stop including clips of Bunny Shaw
Yeah.
when you like ran for the hills at the first opportunity to show any solidarity.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Football doesn't need to mean anything more than football. It can just be football and you can run it well. Like,
yeah,
that's
exactly.
do that and then girl boss your way into some like festival
Totally.
wristbands.
And also there are so many other things they could have put their resources into. Like we have sat here every week talking about something that needs to be looked at. But they've just gone with a new font.
Some gorgeous fake stickers that don't make sense. I'm sorry.
I can't save you now.
What were they? They were like pitch please. And then one was like
one didn't
my
make
boots
sense.
are boots.
It's like, my other boots are
my
boots.
other boots are boots.
Yeah. No grass. Was it no grass stains, no problems, or like
wild?
And like I had all like the tickets for the matches in their concept art were festival wristbands. Like I love the idea that someone would just have like an armful of like shitty paper wristbands.
I would love to start collecting gorgeous metallic festival wristband for every WSL game I go to. Like I'm going to Chigwell Construction Stadium to watch West Ham versus Leicester, and I'm getting like a shiny purple glittery wristband.
One of those big Glastonbury like clamps on the door to get it done. And oh my god! And I swear, if there's one more press release from them that talks about wanting to identify the Taylor Swift fan base,
Nikki, shut up, Nikki.
And that is the official Screamers position. And you know, in terms of spectacularly underwhelming rebrands, the WPL weren't alone, because England decided that despite every single negative reaction to the concept art and the leaks of the England kit, they thought, no, here's this shitty gradient. Have at it, kids. So yeah, England finally dropped their eagerly awaited and now
widely hated
kit in time for the Euros, which is meant to be an homage to the World Cup kits of the 1980s. Kind of just looks like Nike still had a bunch of the old men's training stadium tops from about 6 years ago. They wanted to work up again.
It's horrifying. It's giving Colgate. It's giving USA. It's giving anything but my gorgeous lionesses winning a trophy.
And bless them, they did try to make them look good in that photo shoot
with all the accessories.
Yeah, with all the accessories, exactly. Yeah. And look, they looked great despite those shirts.
I don't think they look great. I think there's some.
But my girls, they are gorgeous.
They are, and that shows how bad that kit was, that it made them look dreadful.
It really made the group chat pop off.
The Fury could have powered, nuclear power stations. Just a short selection of messages from our group chat was. Cheers, Queen's crying. It's actually treachery. The home is garbage fire fodder. And it's like, my favourite was Honor. It looks like a Sunday League kit. No offence to Sunday League. But it's just, and there's been so many lovely kits dropped for the Euros, and I'm looking at them so wistfully.
We've got the worst.
Why are we from where we're from?
I just hope that when we inevitably get to the final against Spain, because that's all football ever is these days, is England versus Spain in the final, we're wearing our away kits.
Oh, I agree.
Wait, who else got a white kit that we could play in the final?
Switzerland.
And then we'd have to wear the
Switzerland in the final. But it's just really disappointing. We've had such a succession of beautiful kits, and then this one dropped, and just the collective response. But also, I did feel like did you have people telling you that it was really lovely?
Well, Versus loved it.
Well, I saw some people online. And
yeah,
I was like,
no one actually in person.
I went into my office and I was like, oh my god, this England kit, and everybody in my office loved it.
Were they all men?
No, they weren't actually, which I would have explained it.
They all just have terrible taste. And bad eyesight.
Yeah, I thought maybe I should just have me noticing that I can't work with you people. And I guess we'll get the first look at it actually probably pre-Euros, because England have got a couple of games coming up, haven't they?
Yeah, England do have games coming up at the end of this month, and they've just announced the squad. So we have Ella Morris being called up into the senior team for the first time, which is interesting. I just think Spurs energy is not what we need, personally, but she's a good player.
Also, knowing Serena, there's absolutely no way she'll even get 10 metres from that pitch. So
no. Yeah, I don't really know why she's now choosing to experiment. Like Missy Bokern's getting back into the squad, which I loved.
I love that.
She's not been brilliant for Villa, but also, again, she's not going to be. She had to carry the water bottles.
Yeah. She has been the under-23s captain, obviously for quite a while now, and I think maybe that's like a good experience.
Yeah.
And Michelle
Agumang, I think surprise to no one, really.
I don't know. It is a surprise, because she did get called up
halfway through.
Yeah. But I guess then you come on, you score a goal like that. No way, you're not getting picked up.
I love that. But the thing is, Serena easily could have not picked her, and no one would have questioned it. But I do think it's really great that she's going, like, even just for the experience.
I guess because it's the Nations League, there's sort of an element of like not necessarily going to make it to the Euro squad. Yeah, but it's still you can still give players that experience, because I think
in camp
going to lose maybe 5 players for the Euro squad anyway. So it's almost like a free hit to call up someone like Michelle, who is going to be an England star of the future, but now.
And then you know, if like someone gets injured at the World Sevens tournament, then Michelle can step in.
Oh my! You got your way there. They must have been listening, Man City, because Alex Greenwood and Lauren Hemp are not on the plane.
Oh, that's good. I didn't see that.
Yeah, it's like the babies and Carolyn.
Guys, I have to admit that I know we have said we're against the World Sevens tournament.
We've been trashing it, but we all want to go.
I'm desperate to go.
The thing is, like,
sounds so entertaining.
The thing is, it is happening. We've made our stand.
They've not listened to us.
Well, yeah, exactly. We made our stand. They need to think about player welfare. Nevertheless, it's going ahead. We may as well be there.
And I also think we didn't really touch on this before, but
solidarity is dead.
Yeah, like
principled football.
It's dead.
It is just going to be really fun.
Yeah, it'd be like going to watch one of our tournaments, which is really fun.
Yeah, and to be fair, the games are like it's like 15-minute halves. There's not.
It's going to be chaos.
It's going to be chaos, but hopefully there's not going to be any bad injuries. Like, I think it's just going to be great.
I will maybe tune in on DAZN, maybe, but I don't know if
I'm seeing if me and Maya will go to the final.
I mean, I am going to have a car. Shall we check in on the Woso Community Noticeboard, because silly summer season is continuing and there has been lots flying about. Who's got anything to add?
Mine's not that silly, but I have seen, as we predicted this week, 6 players have announced they're leaving London City Lionesses.
Yeah.
So the clean out is beginning.
Yeah. And a really disgraceful way for some of them to get, I think one of the players has been there for like 12 years and just got like included in a carousel that said it wasn't even the first slide. Like, I'm really sad that Chantal Boy-Hillock is not going to get her moment in the WSL. I was really looking forward to that, but yeah,
she's been great for them.
Michelle's clearing space, isn't she? On a really positive note, I mean, we've talked about it loads. I've talked about it loads, but Goodison Park, the Everton women. Finally confirmed.
So exciting.
I love this so much. All of the heartwarming messages we've seen from Everton fans.
Yeah.
And like young girls who support Everton.
I was bits in the office looking at some of them. There was the video of 5-year-old Ava who was crying in the back of the car at the idea of Everton not playing at Goodison anymore. And then, I think it was maybe the parent was like, such and such was at the last game last night and was talking to David Moyes and they've said they've had a really good idea and the women are going to play at Goodison. Are you happy about that? She's like, yeah.
I thought this was really cute, but at the same time I was like, why is she giving David Moyes credit for this?
Yeah. I love the idea of David Moyes just walking around and be like, we could do something with this gaff.
Give it to the girlies.
Yeah, and apparently they're gonna, I think they might be looking at reducing the capacity a little bit, which I think fine. Yeah. But and adding some facilities. But it's I didn't realise, everyone talks about that game of Dick Kerr Ladies where they sort of set the record of women's football, it precipitated women's football being banned.
Yeah. It was there.
Was that Goodison?
Was there.
I thought you said I was there. I was like,
no.
So how old are you?
Anna Wick's older than time.
I have a very elaborate skincare routine.
Yeah, I didn't realise it was a Goodison Park. That's so cool.
Yeah, really nice full circle moment. And then I guess on another good sign for the growth of women's game, even if it came from a massive amount of criticism and negativity, was Wolves have committed to applying for a Tier 2 licence each season now, because everyone said, what the hell are you doing? Mm-hmm. But I guess quite a positive sign.
Yeah, something that never should have happened, but it's the least they can do.
Yeah. On a more silly fun note, Bayern Munich did the double men's and women's in the Bundesliga this season, which means we got, that tradition that Bayern Munich have of like they put their players in and they
Lederhosen.
So we got a Harry Kane, Georgia Stanway off key Sweet Caroline duet, and it's both the worst and the best thing I've ever seen.
I haven't seen that.
Oh my god, I need to send you both the video. I didn't want to send it to you in case you hadn't, so I'll get to send it to you afterwards to react to.
Georgia Stanway's one the other year was amazing. Really funny.
Yeah, now add Harry Kane into the mix. It's a corker.
I can't wait.
Anyone else got anything to add?
Yes, I mean, we haven't had the chance to talk about it, but I wanted to check in with the SWPL, Scottish Women's Premier League, which ended today. And it went right down to the wire. As you guys know, there was kind of a title battle between Rangers, Hibs and Glasgow City. And congratulations to Hibs for winning the SWPL.
Woo!
They haven't won it since 2008, I think.
Oh my God,
wow.
So it's actually pretty huge. Obviously, we've talked about Glasgow City being quite dominant over the years. And then in recent years, like Celtic won last year, Rangers won one. So yeah, really exciting. And their star player, Kathleen McGovern, has been called up to the Scottish national team for the first time as well.
Amazing.
So that's really exciting. I think she absolutely deserves it. And yeah, players in the SWPL seem to get overlooked sometimes.
Yeah.
So that's exciting for Scotland.
Is that the first squad for the new coach? And
Yes,
new
exactly.
first squad? Yeah.
Exactly. So I think that's a nice direction that she's going in, that she's actually looking at the domestic league.
Yeah.
So yeah, go on, Melissa.
Go on, Melissa.
That's all we've got time for in Screamers this week, but come back next week as we take Screamers on the road.
Woo!
So exciting, to Lisbon for the Champions League final. But until then,
follow us on Insta, TikTok and all our social media at screamers_pod, or drop us an email. I love emails at screamerspod@gmail.com.
And you can follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, wherever it is you're listening right now to know when new episodes drop. And if you can, please rate and review. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.